What's up, rock stars? Welcome to this episode of the SMB Cybersecurity Authority podcast. And I have a very special guest, a almost like a brother from another mother. It's God, it's been a quite a few years. I think it was when did you land in the US?
2014, the year of 20,
2014.
November, if I remember correctly, November 23rd, 2014. It was snowing outside.
Yes, yes. Perfect time to land. So my guest today is Marek Hajn. And I think it was like it might have been, was it like 2016, 2017? I think we met.
Something like that we met for the first time. I
Yeah.
think it
So
was it was the time where you were still with Plus Consulting.
okay. Okay. So it would have been like 2015.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
2015,
Gosh.
2016. So I left there in November of 2016. So
Yep.
yeah.
It's
So
been a while.
yeah, it's been a minute. So, and it's been a journey. We've been, it's kind of crazy. It's You get a vibe with somebody, and we have been actively working, well, more so the last several years, but really have been actively working on exactly how we can work together and what can we do. And what got us connected up originally was around cybersecurity. So that's why I invited and asked Marek to be a guest on the podcast because he's more of a tech guy than a security guy. We were talking before we started recording that he's kind of fell into cybersecurity, and I think that is, well, I don't think, I know that is really how a lot of people get into cybersecurity. At least anybody that's like over 30 or maybe over 40. I'm not sure exactly how old you are. The beard kind of throws it off a little bit, but really
Almost, almost there.
it's so, and like now it's people are intentionally getting into
Yeah.
cybersecurity, and it's like yeah, well, no, we didn't do that. We didn't do it. Like I fell into it. I was working in it. It was actually at security administration before Plus Consulting, and it was with a health insurance company here in the Pittsburgh area. And what our job was, I was a business analyst, so I actually didn't do the actual administration part, but it was it wasn't called cybersecurity, it was called network security or security. And the department was responsible for primarily just making sure people had access to what they needed to, the different systems, the different applications. And I was a business analyst there. And then HIPAA came along and they were like, oh, hey, we're going to make you the HIPAA security guy. And I was like, okay, sure. So I think it's great that it's similar path and you just kind of fall into it. It just kind of happened.
I always make joke about it, like that I was walking down the street, window shopping, and there was a sign in one shop saying cybersecurity, and I was like, "Hey, this is cool, let's do it." So I say I'm a cybersecurity expert by mistake.
So yeah, we've been as I said, we've been really trying to find different ways to work together, particularly now that I'm independent. And Merrick is one of those he's a, I think, I'm guessing, but I'm fairly confident that that it's an accurate assumption that he's a say yes and figure it out. We'll figure this out as we go. If it feels like, he said, window shopping, hey, this looks cool.
Yeah,
He's like,
let's
yeah,
do it.
let's
Let's
see
do
how
it.
this. Yeah, let's
We'll
figure.
figure it out on the way.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go. So that's a, that's kind of that, brother from another mother kind of feel, because I'm the same way. It's like, yeah, let's see if this works, or let's
Yeah.
figure out how this works, kind of thing. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, in, from a tech perspective, and even from a cybersecurity perspective, because I know you work with, or have worked with, a lot of small to medium sized businesses, particularly as an independent. That's kind of where you end up, where you land. Uh, if the enterprise space is always, or typically with, large consulting companies. So within the SMB space, what have you seen is like the biggest challenge with for the small businesses? And you can spin some cybersecurity in it too, but even from a tech perspective. What has your experience shown you within the SMB space?
People. All the time it's people.
People?
And that's why I like cybersecurity, and that's why I got like, let's say, deeper. And I'm not sure if I can like call it cybersecurity if it is proper, because I'm really not a tech guy. I'm not a network guy. I like that type of thing. I like that's way beyond my understanding. I see cybersecurity more like a policy doing educational thing. I
Okay.
really think it really comes down to people. I always say it really doesn't matter like what policies you have in place, and you can have like all the super high tech stuff in place. But if your employees don't know about it, if they don't understand why they are supposed to follow rules and policies, it would never work. So I think it really is all about us. Those devices, those like software, all that kind of stuff. It's basically, I'm not saying 100%, but it's bulletproof. It's people, it's us. We are making stupid mistakes. So I think that's the biggest, and it still is the biggest challenge, and mostly for SMBs, because it comes down to like cost and resources and everything. So I've been, let's say, like a huge and long time advocate of like properly educating people, talking to them, explaining all over again, all over again, all over again why it is important to do something and not to do anything else, because that would help. That's I think where everyone should start.
And that's a great point because so much of it's historically, you know, cybersecurity grew out of tech. It grew out of the IT department. It was, oh, you have the firewall. That's a security thing. You're now in charge of security because you can figure out how to protect us by configuring a firewall a certain way. Or you have, oh, you deploy antivirus, and now it's the endpoint, detection and response systems, or your managed detection and response systems are now, oh, that comes through IT. That's an IT function because they know.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked to enough IT people. They're like, I don't know anything about security. it's they think I'm the security guy, but they really don't understand. I have no
And
idea.
then in many cases, you know how it is, like the cybersecurity falls like like under the IT department, which
Yeah.
actually it should be the other way around. Like the IT department should be like under someone who's like leading the cybersecurity, because it really is like starting with policies, like putting together those, how to enforce them, and then the whole IT infrastructure should be just a part of the whole, or like the overall complex cybersecurity overview of that company, because it's not only about those systems and like security measures in place. It's all about the policies, educating people, yeah, da, 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 da. But
Yeah.
you
And
know
then
how it is. We got we,
yeah.
we got we got antivirus. We are good. We are good to go. We are
Yeah.
secure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have
Whatever.
a firewall, it's configured.
Yeah.
Well, even, I think some of the folks that we've talked to within the really the lower end of the SMB space has been like, "Oh, what kind of firewall do you have? Firewall?
Uh,
What's a firewall? It's do I really need one of those?" So it's not even having a firewall, but it's like, "Oh yeah, I have Windows, I have, my
we
Apple
use we
does."
use VPN. Which one? The free one.
Yeah,
Okay. Now you're good.
yeah, the free one. And yeah, wait a minute, doesn't my system came with antivirus, right? That's a subscription I pay for. So I'm
you know.
protected. And it's really real quick, it's really like one of those things. It's blown my mind that people are running businesses that are making, some of them are making over $1 million a year, or generating over $1 million a year in revenue. And it's, what are you working with? Whatever came on the laptop when I
Yeah.
bought it. I got it at Best Buy. So, or I
You know,
bought
the
my
other thing, we are making fun of it right now, which, and actually it's not fun. It's not. It
oh,
shouldn't be funny, because like those people out there, I'm not saying they need our help or anyone else's help, but it really should be, let's say, a priority for. And it really doesn't matter if you are like mom and pop shop, like a pizza place, or
mhm,
if you're like delivery service. Everyone, literally everyone deals with some kind of data, if it is personal data or credit cards, data, this type of thing. And it really
yes.
doesn't matter what you do. Like we are in that interconnected online world. where little everything is out there and it has to be protected. So yeah, one thing is like from our experience and like making jokes, laughing, I get it. But on the other hand, it really needs like our attention, and there's something that still needs to be done all about this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's, you know, one of the key talking points that anybody that's new within getting into the cyberspace and getting into, okay, we need to, yeah, these are great tools. Everybody should have this. Everybody should be doing this. And through my experience, I've learned that particularly when you get to the smaller, well, it's any size company, but really specifically having the conversation with the smaller, unless you fall into a compliance regulatory mandated kind of industry, whether it's HIPAA or PCI, and it's a lot of PCIs even like, well, that's my PCI, that's my credit card vendor. They take care of all that stuff for me. But unless you're into like a doctor's office or a lot of that compliance space, your job as the owner of the company is to figure out how to make money. How to
Yep.
whatever you're doing, you're passionate about whatever it is, whatever service you're offering. If you're a plumber, if you're a delivery service, you own a pizza place, you're passionate about doing that. So the cybersecurity thing and even tech from that, I do tech enough to make sure that it works so that I can do what I want to do kind of thing. And so having those conversations is challenging because do I really need to have that? And that's where what I've done in this shift is, okay, let's start talking about when you do have an event or when there is something that you realize that somebody has stolen our access, our data, or somebody is accessing our system that we have no idea who they are. How do you respond to that? That's why I started talking more about and why I've really pivoted and really focusing on that because, okay, understand you're just trying to do what you're passionate about and trying to make some money and
Yep.
and have a business. So what are you going to do whenever something bad does happen? And so you have that incident response. And so that's why we're really focused on the incident response because to me, it's more practical in looking at because, okay, I don't want to, yeah, you should have all these security things. And yeah, I can sell you those. But really, let's put you in a position so that when something does happen, because it will happen, if it hasn't already happened, probably already has happened. Let's figure out how you're going to be able to recover so that you can stay doing what you love to do. And that's part of the challenge. And even when you get into the bigger companies, it's I had an opportunity to work with a company that was, in the hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue, and tech, because it wasn't their specialty, it wasn't what the industry that they were in, it was viewed as tech supports the business, kind of like
And
our finance department supports the business.
there are cases I've experienced and that I just can't talk about because of non-disclosure and everything. It's not only small and mid-sized businesses, it's school districts.
Oh yeah.
And school districts, that's a huge issue. Like what's going on there, like literally every single week, one of school district in this country, at least one of school district in this
Oh
country is being targeted, breached, like victim of ransomware, whatever. Mid-size businesses, even like larger companies, like all the way to the enterprise level, they are not as, let's say, protected as you would expect them to be because of their brand name and everything. We're still at the very beginning of all this, and the whole industry is moving forward really really fast, which brings me to that I'm glad that I don't need to do that anymore. That like over the past couple of years I was able to build my network and basically portfolio of like solutions and people that I rely on. So if one of my if when one of my clients has that need or I see that need there, I can just send them your way. I can just send
yeah.
them to Pake or whoever else, but I don't need to deal with cybersecurity consulting anymore. It's not that I don't like it. It's just, let's say, for me, those like the business opportunities and what I really do like is like somewhere else. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that touches on one of the things I wanted to make sure we chatted a little bit about, or at least shared, is that, it's you're one of the biggest tech consumers people that I know. And, to put that into kind of context for everybody else, how many mobile phones do you have?
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven.
And they're all active.
Yes, 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 yes. No,
And
it's like it's that right now it's a little bit over the top because not sure everyone is aware of that, but it's that time of the year when Samsung is like releasing new Galaxy S devices, and I have all three of them here in front of me right now,
yeah.
just to testing them out. And so it's that, let's say, like the life cycle of all devices, and that's kind of typical for me. So January it's Samsung, then in spring you get like new lower tier Pixel devices.
Uh-huh.
Then midsummer we can expect folding devices from Pixel, so that's another time. Then again around August Samsung comes with their folding devices. So
Mhm.
again here we do it again. Then the new iPhone in September, then
Mhm.
again like top tier Pixel devices in October. So yeah, this keeps me busy like all year long.
And how many like smart watch
Just
devices?
one, just one, just
Just
one.
one? I thought you had
And
two.
the ring.
And you have the
That's
ring.
it.
Okay. But at one time I thought you had two watches.
Yeah, but
Couple
that's what
watches.
they call like double wrist. So on one wrist you wear like the smartwatch, and on
Okay.
the other one you wear like the regular old school either
Okay.
automatic or mechanical watch.
Okay. Yeah, like this one.
Yes, yes, yes,
Like
yes.
yeah, like
And
that one.
because I collect those, so
Okay.
once in a while I like to wear like the old school
Old
watch with
school.
like no screen, no notifications, no stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah. So yeah, then that's and particularly also when it comes to like business related technology, anytime there's if I stumble across something new, like we're recording this just right. I think it's today, doesn't the
that. Apple Vision Pro.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Apple Vision just is being released today as we're recording this. And when they started the promo a week or so ago, I found one and I sent Merrick a text message like, "Okay, I'm sure you've seen this. What are your thoughts on it?" And he's like,
No,
"Yeah,
it's an amazing piece of tech, but I
yeah,
think it's at this stage where even Apple they have no idea what to do with it. Like it's really is like showcase of what they can do with
yes,
technology. It's
yeah,
amazing, but the use case for it, it's still, I think it's still early. Like, and I just posted on Threads the other day, like all that hype around Apple Vision Pro just makes me want to pick up Meta Quest 3, because it's basic. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's basically the same, but for just a fraction of the price. It's like $500.
right."
So I was started talking about it, and then my wife gave me that look, and then I immediately realized that I really don't need it. But when my middle son, when he heard that we can get MetaQuest 3, he was like jumping all over the place, like, yeah, that's Daddy, you need to go to Target right now and bring it back home. I'm like, no, 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 that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I actually won a Meta Quest through a drawing through one of the big
Nice.
and I forget what version it is, and it's in I got it out for a little bit and played around with it, and I've learned that I start to feel the technology and it's like, all right, this will suck me in. It's kind of
Yeah.
like watching, series programming on TV. Like, oh, have you watched, the latest series of on Netflix? No, because I know if I really like it, I'm gonna get sucked in. And
And I know this is taking us like away from cybersecurity. Even
yeah,
it's like it's still there is a like a
still tech.
small cybersecurity touch in this as well. Uh, I'm doing my own podcast with my friends. Unfortunately, it's in Czech, so unless you guys can want to use AI to have that translated for you from Czech to English, there is nothing you can get out of it. But we were just shooting our next episode yesterday. I'm going to put it out today, and we were talking about Apple Vision Pro and the Meta Quest 3, and where all this we think will lead to. And I think I'm not saying like the finish line, but what I would like to see in the next couple of years is like glasses, the regular glasses with this type of
Hmm.
technology. You know, I have those Ray-Ban Meta smart
Okay.
glasses that I wear,
Yeah.
and they're pretty cool and everything. But what I really would like to like project on the lens,
Hmm.
like that AR type of thing, like the
Yeah.
context about like what's going on. Like if I'm walking from one meeting to another meeting downtown, I want to see those like directions there. Or if I'm like in the store shopping, it could check prices for me and do the price check, like, hey, like for example, Amazon has this for a little bit cheaper, or you can get this at Best Buy, blah 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 blah. So this is the, let's say, direction that I would like all those devices to like go to, because I don't see myself sitting in a living room with like
Big
pound thing
goggles.
big on my face. And like the one thing is that you look really weird in that, and then it's that like you're basically closing yourself in your own bubble. It's like antisocial. I really don't see like me and my wife sitting in a living room, each one of us having that Vision Pro and like watching movie together. It's no, it just doesn't work that way for
Yeah, and I think that's, and not that this is a commercial for the Apple Vision Pro, but
me.
that was was one of the biggest kind of features, is the see-through glass on the front, is being able to actually see through what's in front of you. And the demo that I saw on it was like, okay, I could see this at some point not replacing like laptops and your desktops and things like that, but it's, now it's everybody has a desktop, everybody has a laptop, or everybody has an iPad and an iPad. I've got all three here, and that's, having two, at least two kind of computer devices, whether it's a desktop and a laptop, or desktop and an iPad, or iPad lap. Like, this is going to be another device that you will have to be able to do things that, like, even work. I could see that
Yep.
happening. Is it okay? This is something that I want to, be able to work remotely somewhere and just sit on my couch, and I can sit there and put these things on and actually work.
It's that type of like Tony Stark from Iron Man
Yeah.
thing when he's like in his lab and like taking things and
Yeah.
like throwing at the
Yeah.
screen, and it's there, and then from his smartphone just sending it.
Yeah.
This type of environment, that would be pretty cool, but not with that thing on your face.
Well, yeah, it looks goofy until somebody makes it cool. And then
Yes.
then it's like, "Oh, this is great, this is great." So,
But would
with
just I
yeah,
have to admit, if there's anyone who can like really make it cool, I guess it's Apple. They have resources, and they have the drive to make this cool and make this work. So not right now, but I think like 2 generations from now, that's something we all will be buying, and it really will be cool, and it really will be working.
and I agree with you with the having the glasses, and, I think that that's, you can see the leap from what they've created to going to glasses,
Yeah.
simply because now it's like, "Oh, now you've created something that I can actually look through and still have this immersion experience." So, with that, and it's, we could do a whole episode on just like, okay, bring your own device, and how do companies, how do you secure, or how are you going to be able to protect your data, or whatever you're trying to do from a security standpoint. What it you could We could do a whole episode on that, but it's really, I think it's something that we've seen in the pandemic, really accelerated the process. It didn't make it new. I think well, I know it really accelerated it to the point of, there is no perimeter anymore,
No.
or there's very, a lot of companies, one, previous to the pandemic, people were, if you wanted to work remotely, you had to VPN in and be able to connect to, the company, and then you could work that way. Where with the acceleration, it's now everything's web based,
Yep.
portal based, and so really getting into, okay, I don't have to go through the firewall anymore. It's a matter of, and then companies are like, well, how do I protect that? How do I do that? And something that you and I recently have, again, another opportunity we're working through to working together is on a solution that's passwordless, really passwordless environments, how to create that. And what's really cool, and not a plug or a sales for the product Peg,
No, no, no. But
but
it's
it's really what they've done with that solution is something that, I got an introduction to, kind of like single sign-on through some vendors out there, with like Microsoft does some single sign-on stuff. One of them where I really got deep into it just through some opportunities that came about was like with a product like LastPass, your password vaulting, and really around trying to secure those passwords. Because again, passwords equal people. People are the problem, or people are the solution. I say they're your biggest target, but they're also your biggest solution. With, if you do the right things, or at least try to do the right things. So within the passwordless space, uh, do you think, are you one of the folks out there that say, okay, passwords are going to go away, we're no longer going to need
hopefully, and I can't wait for that to happen.
them?
It's just like on my list of like stupid things in cybersecurity, where number one is us people, because and with no offense to anyone, we are just stupid because we do stupid stuff every day.
Human.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
exactly.
We're people.
Number two are passwords, because they are just stupid. The concept is like prehistorical already. It's just
I was
stupid.
just going to say that we've outgrown it.
Yeah, exactly.
The technology is outgrown
So, and I don't know if like what the next step is. If it is like passkeys that Google and everyone else is doing, or if we go through like biometric authentication or anything else. But I think the way is, and it must be, removing passwords and multi-factor authentication, because these things are just not secure, stupid. You can bypass them. You could get to them through social engineering and phishing, and it just, and that's the, I think, general misconception where people think, hey, we have MFA in place, so we are secure. No, you are not. Like, you're far from being secure. Like,
You're a
you can
little
hack,
more secure,
yeah, a
but
little
you're
more,
not.
but still, like, you like spoofing MFA is quite easy.
Mhm.
So that's kind of that, let's say, fake belief that if you have MFA in place, then you're done and you're secure and you don't need to do anything else. No,
Yes.
that's like far, far, far from being true. So that brings me to, and like the beginning of commercial break here. Uh, I don't want to do sale pitch for Peg and anything, but what I really like there, the whole passwordless and MFA that Peg is removing, it's pretty cool. But I was actually thinking about it recently, like how I work and what I can do with Peg. So right now, my, let's say, main workstation or work device is my Samsung Galaxy Book, and I have like different Microsoft accounts. I have different Google accounts. So basically, for every instance, I have like a Microsoft Edge profile with that Microsoft account. I don't have basically like literally anything installed on the device, like nothing like desktop Outlook, nothing like desktop Teams. No, I work like in that online environment. So I have created my online like workspace. But with Bake, I like that I can take that even further, that I can have everything integrated with Bake. I don't need to like care about passwords and multi-factor and those things that once in a while Microsoft 365 logs you out for security reasons, and then you need to log back in, and then either you have those passwords stored in something like LastPass, which is not secure at all because how many times they were breached.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and then the MFA thing. So that's what I like about Pake. One thing that we already discussed, that like virtual workspace, online workspace that you are connecting
Yeah.
to, and then your device is basically just a gateway to that workspace. And the other thing, like not even thinking about passwords and MFA anymore, because that's what the Pake does for you in the background. So it's like really seamless, easy, and fast. And I really like it. I really like it. So yeah, the end of commercial break.
And it's truly, I think it's one of those technologies that it's it's kind of like, okay, figure out what the problem is and figure out a way to solve it.
Yep.
And that particular product does a lot of that from the standpoint of there are a lot of legacy companies that are trying to move into that space. And, this is one of the advantages. This is a startup story. It's every tech startup or any kind of startup out there, but every tech startup out there is like, I'm not bringing a whole bunch of baggage with me.
No. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
can start clean, new, and say, okay, here's the problem. I'm going to create a solution for this problem, and I don't have to have any type of legacy things that I need to address or continue to support because they're not part of my. It's not what I'm trying to do. And
Yeah. Or anything like on-prem servers, like hidden
right.
in a somewhere in a cabinet or basement.
Which still exists.
Oh my gosh.
They're very popular.
Oh
So,
yes.
and really looking at that so it's I think it's important for particularly in the SMB space for people owners and even people that work for small to medium sized businesses understand, we've given you kind of some insight on where we see the industry going, and it's something that I think is going to be happening quicker. How can tech move faster? But I think it's something that's going to be moving faster because the threats are real. Every organization has had some type of a cyber incident, at least one, probably multiple. And for most of them, they're lucky that it wasn't catastrophic. It didn't shut them down. Uh, it wasn't the Target situation. That was a third generation heating and air conditioning company that created the Target breach. And if you think I'm talking crazy, go do an internet search and you'll find that that's exactly what happened. And the company ended up out of business because they were the reason for that massive Target breach. And so that ties to what you talked about earlier: is everything's connected. Everybody's connected. Everybody's working. And you're like, well, I'm a small guy. It won't matter. I'm not a target. You're part of
Yeah.
a supply chain. You are working with bigger targets that the bad guys, the threat actors, they want to get into. And so they just looking for an
Yeah.
open.
And you have data, and that data is valuable for any for someone out
Mhm.
there. So
Yeah,
someone stealing that, putting it out there on dark web for sale, someone will get it. So yeah, it's worth, even if it is worth like a couple $1,000 for some people, it's still worth trying to like break into your environment and steal that data.
your competition wants your customer list.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't
And
matter
that's what I
what you
say.
do.
I've heard from people, hey, I'm like just one man show CPA office. Like, why would someone target me? Yeah, because you have like 150 customers and you have like all the financial information, including
Mhm.
tax returns, social security numbers, everything stored somewhere, either on your like hard drive here or somewhere in the cloud. So all that information is worth like thousands of dollars,
Exactly.
and someone is willing to do that. Someone is willing to like steal that. It's just a
Well, and it's in if any at a reality, kind of a real use case is the most that uh quote unquote, I put it in quotes, breach that came out. What was that last week? That how many millions of records are now been released? That I was like, this is the bad guys. Somebody said, hey, I've got this data source over here that has health information. I have this data source here that has financial information. I have a data source over here that has very good personal identification information. Why don't I bring it all together? And it was, I I haven't really followed it, but I'm willing to bet that somebody or somebody's a group out there said, let's use AI to bring
it's
all this together.
that's exactly what I just wanted to say. And then someone built like an agent on top of ChatGPT to say, hey, merge me those data sources together, so I have one
Yes.
solid database with all information needed that I can sell out there.
Right.
It's the other thing. It will only get worse with AI. And I'm not talking about all that like creepy thing that's going out there on the like
Hmm.
military government level where and I don't even want to know what's going on there. Let's
Right.
let's stay let's stay on the ground. Like for example, social engineering or phishing attacks. Today you can, let's say, like number of them you can just dismiss because the people on the other side, they have accent which is weird, or all those like text messages, like those trying like social engineering or phishing attacks, like the language is weird because like I don't know where like those social engineering farms in China or wherever they are.
Hmm.
It's just, it doesn't feel right. But with AI, we wouldn't be able to recognize if it is legit or not because AI can easily imitate the language, the accent, and everything,
Hmm.
that it would be so difficult to figure out if is this really the insurance company calling me or not? How do I make sure? Is this really my bank calling me that they need this information? And you know how it is, like a lot of people, they don't know that bank would never call them for that type of
Right.
information. And
Right.
banks, they have that written basically everywhere, but with that
Hmm.
small font that no one actually reads, so people don't know. And more legit those attacks will look, then like more people will fall for them and just share that information. And that's all AI doing. And again, like you can say, okay, so we will unleash our good AI against those attacks. Yes, but those attacks are targeted at people and directly at people. So if you don't educate people properly, it will only get worse.
And I part of the cybersecurity game, being a cybersecurity professional, and part of that is, to create that level of fear in people, because that usually produces some type of action, hopefully a good action. And so the fear, and I don't want to negate that, but at the same time I want to say that, part of the to lessen the fear that, oh my god, the world's going to be coming to an end, to kind of lessen that a little bit, is that there's, the AI is going to protect us from AI.
Yeah,
And so there are
hopefully.
well, like I tell people that you want to keep your computer completely secure 100% of the time, unplug it, turn it off.
Put
It'll
it back in the box.
Yeah, you'll never have a problem with short of doing that. So, but I really think, and I'm glad we got into AI, because that was one of the things I wanted to just kind of touch on a little bit, because I'm a AI consumer. It's something that, it's to me, it's like whenever when my son, when he was, kind of that tween age, he was around 11, 12, 13. Oh, it was before 13, but he was around 11 or 12, and being in the technology space, conversation we had in our family was, do we get him a phone? Do we get him a smartphone? And I said, yes. And everybody's like, he's so young. And I said, you don't understand. His generation is growing up with this.
Yeah, you can't take it
And
from them.
he has to know, he has to be able to use this thing to maximize his ability to be able to do things with this device.
Yep,
This is like the automobile. It's something that you're going to have to know how to use this, and quite frankly, how to exploit it to your advantage, because it's too big of a tool. It's too useful, and
yep.
does too much, and he has to figure out how to do this. And my sister, who has my nephew, her oldest, is very close in age to my son, few years younger, and she said, "Oh no, we're going to wait until he's, in high school." And I'm like, "Don't do that to him. Do not do that to your kids, because
And
they have to they're growing up with it. They have to know
I
how."
have I have similar experience. We have friends and their kids, they don't have like smartphone. They have Apple Watch, like the
Yeah.
cellular connected to their parents' accounts for, let's say, just in case, but they don't have smartphones. I'm like, and I'm not questioning the decision. That's like their way of parenting,
Mhm.
and maybe it's now like me, geek tech freak, talking, but I absolutely agree with you. Like you really can't take it from them. The only thing you have to do is help them manage it. So because
Yeah.
it's so easy to spend like way too much time on social media, way too much time playing games. So our boys, they have no access to social media at all. Like I honestly don't see why they're not almost 9 and almost 12 or 11. I don't see why they should have an access to, like, definitely not TikTok. That's like no way. And then like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or I'm sorry, I refuse to call it X. It will always be Twitter for me, and Threads. They don't need it. It's just like it will be waste of time on their side. Playing games, yes, but they have, let's say, limited time for playing games. And then I try to not to force them, but show them what else they can do. So
Hmm.
just the other day, I sent my older son link to download Perplexity AI, and I told him, hey, this is way better for like search than using Google. Just give it a try because it will
Hmm.
give you a lot more context. And he's always looking for like stuff to learn about. He got the Lego Concorde
Okay.
for Christmas, so
Oh, wow.
he built a huge plane, and then he was starting looking for, okay, what's this, like what's the history of this aircraft. So I thought, hey,
Oh.
just put Concorde in Perplexity AI, and it will give you way more than Google is giving you. So it's this type of thing. And I was kind of disappointed the other day. They both have Pixel 8, so they have
Okay.
the circle to search available, but because they have kids Google accounts,
Okay.
the circle to search, which is pretty cool feature, is not available for kids accounts. I'm like, why? I understand that Google is not supposed to harvest data from kids and this type of thing, but this, like, actually, this one feature, when you circle anything on your screen and it
Hmm.
will search for you, it's like really useful. So I get there are like privacy and security concerns, but they should figure out a way how to make this available even for kids accounts, because it's pretty cool. I like it.
Well, and that's the future. That's going to be their life. And it's that, you know, to we older folk, that's oh, that's really cool. That's a really cool thing. They're going to be in it. They're going to be the generation that's going to go, oh, remember when we used to have to circle something on our
Ah, that was weird.
yeah, you remember that? That was so bad, but that's their reality.
Yeah, it is. And
And so,
that's they need to understand, and they need to learn like where to get information, how to search
yes,
for information,
yes,
and also how to work with that. Like that, not everything they will find is true. Not
yes,
everything is legit. And I think we are like lucky, and I'm quite thankful that our school district is not the type of school district that force kids to memorize literally anything and everything. It's more like the curriculum is really to like help them think about stuff, and
yes,
like trying to get them into figuring stuff out. And I think this is actually part of it. Like whatever, they won't be going to libraries, like
right.
going through books and like making, even if they would be writing essays. No, they will search the internet for all information in their lives. And if we don't teach them properly how to do that, it
Right,
will only get more difficult for them.
exactly. And that's, particularly with my son that, he's now first year at, Penn State University in sports journalism, and that's something very early on. He was doing journalism in high school, and that was part of the curriculum in high school, and also something I, as a parent, outside of the journalism space, was really trying to show him and instill in him, don't trust a single data source. Don't trust what's out there because, uh, it's gonna be skewed somehow.
Yep.
It's not gonna be so in order. And then I told him, "Go find, even if it's something you don't, if you agree with what you found, if you found something that, particularly in the sports space, if you're talking about a player and you agree 100% with everything that you found about that player because you're a fan of that player, you like that player, go find opposing views.
Yep.
Find out what people are saying opposite of what your belief is or what you're finding, even if it's something that you don't care about, but you're finding all this stuff. Okay, go find something opposing to that. So This is kind of how our conversations go, as we Merrick and I could really go off. And so within the tech space, and really within it's great that I think for folks to hear about giving your kids devices, and where there's practical uses of, we see it as an evil thing. And I've been fortunate and blessed to have been participating in a lot of things at my school district, as a parent representative. And one of the things that the message I delivered frequently, it was almost turning into like, "Is that all you ever say?" Kind of response from folks was, "We don't need to take the devices away. We need to figure out how to talk to them through that
Yep.
device." And so,
Agreed.
because that's the reality. It's one of those things of, you see people looking at devices. Like, my wife gave me a hard time when she first saw, like, on my phone, I have an app that has, you know, all the it's essentially the same book you look at when you go to church. It's the missile. It's the same thing, that. And I said, that book is on my phone. And so, like, I pulled out my phone and started looking, and she's like, "What are you doing with your phone in church?" And I said,
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing you're doing, but I'm doing it on my phone."
Yeah.
And so that's the reality we're moving into. And there are ways, and this is a really frustrating point for me. And as much as I don't like government intervention in a lot of things, government getting involved in things, there's when you look at one of the ways to produce good behaviors, is usually you get the government has to mandate it. Like, you have car insurance on your car because in the state of Pennsylvania, which where we live, it's a state law. You have to have automobile insurance on your car. Well, because if you what they found was, if you don't make that a law, most people won't have automobile insurance.
Sure. Why would they spend money for something
Yeah.
they really don't need? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
like,
get it.
I don't wreck,
Yeah.
I don't crash my car, but everybody has it. And that's the example I love to use with cybersecurity. There's no mandate across the board that you have to do these things to protect the data, particularly in the United States.
Yeah.
It's really, part of this concept of, freedoms for the individual and things like that. But we can use your personal information however we want as a corporation. I digress. But I use the automobile example because it's one of those things where, if it wasn't a law, nobody would have it.
Yep.
And when you got into a car wreck and your car's totaled, you wish you had it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that is cybersecurity. I wish I would have had it. And the cyber insurance industry has really gotten a lot better. It still has a long way to go. It's one of the things I talk about a lot on my social feeds, but is really that I'm a proponent and advocate for cyber insurance. But it's one of those things of, until it's mandated within a specific industry across the board, that you have to have some type of cyber insurance. I see that coming. I don't, who knows when it'll happen, but it's something that's going to happen, because so many companies are like, "Oh, I just needed to." You mean I could have been training my employees and reduce the chances that that employee clicked on that link and they shouldn't have, because
Yep.
we don't do the training and awareness. We don't focus on those things. "Oh, I didn't upgrade my endpoint protection. I'm using what came with the computer, or we installed it a year ago. We haven't done any updates. Didn't know I needed to do those types of things." And and again, why I talk about instant response, because it's going to be, how are you going to, I want to be that auto body shop that says, "Bring your car and we'll fix it," kind of thing. Bring your company to me. We'll figure out how to keep you guys going and keep you rocking and rolling, because it's really something that everybody needs to have it. And
Yep.
that's the hard thing, is anybody that gets into the cybersecurity space are like, everybody should be doing this. Well, yeah, everybody should eat healthy and exercise.
It's just it's I think it's about mindset. It's like,
True.
our generation, or generations before us, like older generations, they are not there yet. But those younger generations that are growing with all those smart devices in their hands, I think they will have different view of that. They will have different mindsets, and they will see this as a necessary thing to, like, basically the same way you protect your life with life insurance, the
Hmm.
same way you protect your car with auto policy. I think they will understand exactly, it will be like a normal for them, like a
Yeah.
standard, that they need to protect their online lives with some kind of cyber insurance. And I'm not talking only about companies. I'm talking about individuals, like in
Hmm.
private life. That type of thing will definitely come. Like, if when you and if we, I maybe it's not if, it's really when we get into that metaverse type of thing, you will also have like liabilities there. So that's when I think that's like personal cyber insurance or meta insurance or whatever that will be
Yeah.
called,
Yeah.
will come, and they will see it as, okay, that's just another thing I need to have. It's part of life.
Yeah, exactly. And that the business insurance, like I said, has come a long way. It's getting a lot better. They're starting to understand and actually listen to. I've been uh, years even before the pandemic and the late teens. Several insurance companies reached out to me and were just asking about how I, as a cybersecurity professional, how I determine risk in the cybersecurity space. And I laid it all out, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." And then the pandemic happened. The insurance company got all the insurance industry got absolutely hammered because the perimeter went away and they didn't have all the controls and everything in place.
Yep.
And to me, it was just it's exactly what I talk about all the time: the fundamentals. I talk about the 10 cybersecurity fundamentals that everybody, not just companies, everybody should be doing. And while a lot of people don't, "Oh, why do I need security awareness training? I'm an individual." It's no, you need to be aware of and understand when you get that email on your home email address that you don't click on that link, regardless of
Yep.
what it says. So and really just it's the fundamentals, and it's getting down to the fundamentals, and as long as you're doing the fundamentals or trying to do the fundamentals, you're going a long way to protect yourself. And I started to talk, make this point earlier, was one of the frustrating things for me is the solutions are available. This isn't like something that we don't know how to, like, how we help reduce this issue, because you're not going to make it go away, but you reduce the threat opportunity. You reduce the chances that your data is going to get breached, or you're going to have somebody on your network that shouldn't be there. To reduce that risk factor, all the solutions are there, and they have more recently have become affordable for even the individual to be able to do these things. And
And that's why I'm glad that we touched that, like young generations and devices and everything, because I always say it's too late for us.
yeah,
You won't teach
yeah,
all the new tricks. Like,
right, right.
did all this won't change magically overnight. Like, those things will keep happening. Like, people will responding to scam calls, people will be responding to scam messages, people will be following links in emails that they don't know the sender, and all the stupid stuff. But only like the generational change will change all that, because those younger generations, they and maybe I'm wrong, but I hope that they will know that that's like something they are not supposed to do, and that as they grow more in the online world and in the offline world, it will come naturally to them.
And it the I one of the challenges I see with uh the younger generation, and this it's one of the packages programs that we put together for companies, is particularly around financial and executive email fraud. And the financial fraud is, you have this device when you get an email from what looks like your CFO telling you to do this wire transfer, pick up the phone and call them before you
Yes.
do. And unfortunately for the younger generation, it's like, "What? There's a phone on here I can call?" No, I don't call anybody because I don't answer my phone. I don't leave voicemails. And so that's the phone piece is challenging, and I'm sure something will come along or I'll figure out, or we will figure out a way to other type of verification of getting that. But it's pick up the phone and call. What's stopping you? There's a phone. There's an app on here. It's called phone. Use the phone app
Use it.
on here. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
and that's part of the uh you know, back to the kids with my son, it was just, the best thing I think anybody can learn is getting through and have the approach to just ask.
Mhm.
Just ask. Anything that's ever happened in the world has started with somebody asking
Yeah.
something.
And I think like the whole parent kids devices thing, I think there are a lot of people, and maybe I'm wrong again, but it's at least from what I've seen in my bubble, a lot of people struggle with like setting those devices properly. Like,
Mhm.
kid gets a new iPhone for Christmas, and that's basically it. They just unbox it and then they do it themselves. It should be the parent setting, and like age, regarding the age of the kid, but it should be the
Right.
parent setting the device for them. And it really doesn't matter if it is iPhone, Android device, or whatever else. There is
Whatever.
nothing else out there actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like all of them, Apple, Google, Samsung, they have like the proper tools for parents to like set those devices and monitor those devices and like set age rules, content rules, these type of
Mhm.
things. But unfortunately, in many cases these things are hidden and people just don't know about them. Like for example, Google, they have really well done family oriented like websites,
Mhm.
like where they walk you through the whole process, even how to talk to your kids about like the behavior on the internet, what to do, what not to do, how to like respond to threats, these type of things, and just people don't know about it.
And it one of the things that popped in my head too is on a completely different topic, unrelated to technology and what we're talking about, but it's, getting into because I've had this conversation with other parents is, you're the parent your kid, be the parent. But I don't want to go down that path. I just want and
No,
that part of it too
I
is
think
you
it
need
goes back to what you say. Like if you don't know, ask. And this is exactly the same.
yes,
If
yes,
you're not sure, if you want to give your kid a device, but if you're not sure, just ask. Use Google for
yes,
God's sake.
yes,
Just put there how to set up a new device for 10-year-old kid properly.
yeah,
And it
exactly,
will give you enough resources to do that. And it's work, you need to put some time into it, but it's your kid, you need to you're
right,
the one. Just be a parent, like
right.
show them, teach them, and do it with them properly. There's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is just giving them the device and let them do it whatever they want to do with it, because they will obviously end up with those shiny things, which is TikTok
Yes.
and all that crap. And
Yes.
we all saw it on news, like kids dying because of those like stupid
Mhm.
challenges on TikTok. So,
Right.
but not giving them the device, not giving them the access is not a way to like keep them from that. Giving them the
Exactly.
device and like helping them set it up properly and explaining them, teach them how to behave in the online world
Yes.
is the way.
Yes. And that's, one of and then one more point, and then we'll kind of wrap up here because Merrick and I could talk for the rest of the day today.
Yes, exactly. Maybe like
We
till
would
Sunday
enjoy
night.
it. Yes. And so, but really, one of the things as, looking at my son and what he was doing, and now that, he's 18 and an adult and things like that, but I'll make another point real quick on that too. But one of the things as he got older, I had to look at less and less because I could see what he was doing. And like I tell people with my social media feeds, don't have a whole lot of negativity in them because the algorithm knows what I want. I want positive stuff. I want tech stuff. I want self-help, self-improvement. I want, healthy living. I want those types of things in my
Yep.
feed. So I don't get all the negative garbage that's out there. So the algorithm rhythm is going to give you what you want. And so with my son, one of the things is like his favorite app to use is Twitter. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's so bad, so bad." everything on his Twitter feed is sports related.
Yeah. If you train it properly, it
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
And
But
it
you need to know how to do that.
and it's exactly what he's and it's what he's done with all the other apps. Everything he gets is because that's his passion. That's what he's
Yeah.
going to college to do, sports journalism. That's what he does. And so that's what his feed feeds him. And then once he became 18 years old, I said, okay, you're now an adult. You're on our Wi-Fi here at the house. Don't do anything that's going to bring the cops to the house because they're going to arrest me. Everything's in my name. So watch what you're doing. I'm not going to monitor it. I don't, because you're an adult. But don't be doing anything that's going to bring the police here.
Yeah.
And, uh, just a different conversation, but it's having it, and that's what I tell people that come here. I know family members, and I know my circle, the bubble of people within my bubble, and I know that somebody comes over, it's like, don't be doing that. Don't do what you normally do on your Wi-Fi. Don't do that on mine because I don't want, I don't want anybody showing up here. Hey, we traced to your house this type of activity. So, um, as we wrap up, is there anything that we didn't touch on and didn't talk about that you'd want to share uh, with anybody that's listening, or just
Oh my God.
open the door?
Open the door and then
Here
we'll be here
another
for
hour.
another couple of hours. No,
Yeah.
you really don't want to do that. No, 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 no. I like, if we get some positive feedback, I would be more than happy to come back and we can cover
Yeah.
some more topics. This has been really fun, and there's
Cool.
always a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So
And if there's
uh,
anything that we talked about, I'll put a link to Marek's LinkedIn account. You can reach out to him that way. Also, if there's anything we brought up, any products, anything that you want to, any questions you have on, it's our mission is to share information. We're not going to try to
yeah,
sell you anything. It's simply, we understand that in order for really us to be successful, all we have to do is just share. And the
I,
people, if you have a question, reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask.
maybe
Again,
one more thing. I always say I'm happy to sit down, grab a coffee, and talk, and figure out if there is something we can do together.
yeah,
At the beginning it may seem that we compete with each other, but we may find synergies, or that like we are totally different industries. But I have my hands in too many jars. That's not that case.
when you
So
see
I
his
would
LinkedIn
say.
account, you will completely understand. You'll get a little snapshot as to all the jars that he has his hands in.
But if there's someone out there listening right now who would like to be involved and who would like to help me with what I call putting Pittsburgh on a map and attract more investors, retain talent here in town, and bring more international companies to set up their headquarters in Pittsburgh, just feel free to reach out to me. We'll talk, we'll figure it out. There's a lot going on, and there will be a way, way, way more going on in upcoming months and years.
For sure, for sure. And that is really that's I it I don't know if that's what brought you here from the Czech Republic originally, but it's really been something that I think that you found that wait a minute, this is my jam. This is what I'm really good at, and I really love doing this. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, or if he again just kind of
No,
fell into it.
just kinda again. I was again walking down the street, and then hey, this is a good idea. Let's do it, and it just started working. It
And
just
that
started working, and we are bringing more companies to Pittsburgh. We are helping more local companies to grow. We are bringing more companies originally from here to back here. It's just this city has a lot to offer. I love this city, and I want the rest of the world to see what hidden gem Pittsburgh is.
And to tie to that as we finish up is that with our startup, our cybersecurity tech startup, and some of the things we're working on right now, that I will be announcing some big things coming up soon. A little teaser there, but really one of the things as a born and raised, I'm a Yinzer here, is looking at how do we take what we have in Pittsburgh and get it outside of, really looking at the US and North America, really, because there are a lot of gems here. There are a lot of great things happening here. And it's okay, you can be successful in Pittsburgh, but how do you take that if you want to take that next step and saying, okay, I want to reach out, I want to branch out in the mid-Atlantic. I want to, the whole Eastern Seaboard, whatever that looks like. that is something that I'm building and looking at doing too. And so, if you're in a situation or in a position where you're like, I want to learn more about how do I build my company outside of Pittsburgh, reach out because we can definitely help you do that as well. So that's another commercial, but man, thank you for the time today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
This was
this
amazing.
is cool. It's always great when we sit down and talk, and this is the first time we've actually recorded a conversation. So, I'm very confident we'll be doing this again in the very near future. So,
I'm looking
uh,
forward to it.
reach out. I'll have all the links, everything you need to needle. Reach out to both of us. The direct way, the best way, I think, to reach out and correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll be through LinkedIn. Is that the
Yep,
best?
that works.
Yeah. Okay. Not a big fan of posting out people's email addresses because I don't want you to, you get enough email. You don't need any.
Yes, yeah, yeah. LinkedIn's better.
So excellent. Excellent. Thank you. And we'll be talking soon.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.